What's up, Scott? How's it going, man?
What's up, dude?
Thanks for coming on, brother. How's it
Sorry.
going?
I was out in the cold all day today, man. I'm old and get tired.
Yeah, how's everything going with COVID and instruction down in Georgia right now?
It's kind of Georgia is really low key, especially in the small rural community where I live. And I've literally haven't missed a day. I mean, our club, the dining room was closed for like a month or so, like in the middle of it. But I mean, I ripped it the whole time. It's a weird world right now.
Got that right. Got that right. So how many tour players are you currently working with? Guys, gals, juniors that are kind of up and coming, kind of.
I probably have. I know one, and I did have a guy Monday in, but I know at RSM I had 9 people there. But on average week I have about 7. I've got a couple, 2 or 3 LPGAs and a handful of Symetra and some Corn Ferry. I don't even know, man. I got many of them. It's chaos.
Are you
a bunch of D1 kids?
Are you traveling a lot?
Yeah, I've traveled a ton. As soon as we crank back up, I've gone to most of them. I probably only missed a couple since they cranked back up. It was really, it was super condensed season when they got it cranked back up, and the fields were really, everybody was playing. I guess people sitting around the house. So yeah, it was crazy. So we got, a couple weeks off at Hudson Swafford's in Maui. And they leave. I think he leaves like on the 1st or something to start the new season. So there's just no time off this year at all.
Right. So how long, and I guess at what point did you start working with tour players? Or how long has it been?
I've been at the same club since I was 27. I got hired as a head pro there when I think I was 27 or 28. I think I was 27. And, I was a regular, owned the pro shop, a little bit of the carts, had a deep, a little base pay. And I kind of figured out I needed to teach a little bit. A lot of it was to help pay my invoices in the winter. If you own a pro shop, any club pro that listens to this that ever owned a shop and get it, those Titleist invoices keep on coming. So, I kind of built a bay in end-to-out hitting bay in about 95, I guess, or something like that. And I had a couple, like I had this kid, Brian Odom and Jay Stepp, that grew up in my club, but that were D1 kids. Brian played at Georgia and Jace played at Augusta State. But then Jason Bone married a girl that had their family was a member of the club, and he moved over there, and I helped him while he was doing all his developmental Canadian tour and all that business through his tour wins. So he was my first guy. I think he really got out on tour about 03, I think, maybe. That's kind of when I really kind of got, and I wasn't going hot and heavy in 03, but about 2 or 3 years after that, I got going pretty good, So that's kind of how I got. I had one really big break, Cleveland Golf and Shrixon merged, or I guess Shrixon bought Cleveland, and they moved an extra web van they had to my place and fit a bunch of developmental guys and tour guys there. So I already had a little credibility because I had Jason Bone, right, and I just had this pipeline of these developmental guys on my range. And, if you've been around many players, they'll listen to anybody, man. So got a pretty good setup there.
You can tell them anything, right?
You got anything and you got a little credibility, they're all in, So I had a pretty good setup there. Rob Waters from Cleveland helped me with that.
That's awesome. So over the year, Scott, what have you noticed that kind of sets somebody apart, like your Hudson Swaffords or your Harris English?
I do tons of these education things, and that X factor thing is so hard to figure out because all these D1 kids I teach anymore look like tour players.
Right.
It really, I wish I could define it, and but a lot of it is the calmness of their mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's like how they handle Brennan Todd. Now I'm not teaching him anymore, but I taught him when he played really well. Not this time, but the time before.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys, they just have the ability to hit it offline a little bit and not lose their mind. They'll have strengths in part of their game that offset their weaknesses. There's not one guy on tour that has a perfect golf swing. Certain golf swings deliver, some golf swings let you hit it high and far. Others hit it like a boo, hit it more controlled and lower. But, it's really, if I could tell you what really defined somebody to make a world class, it's so hard to put your finger on. You kind of get around it and you feel it more than you can define it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then there's tons of guys that you teach and have their unbelievable strengths, but like their weakness, like Boo Weekly, I've taught him for years. The guy's a phenomenal ball striker, pretty good little short game. His putting's always kind of held him back a little bit. It's like you can't have, he won 3 times on tour. So it's not like a terrible career, but if that guy was putted like Brendan Todd, good Lord, the guy won 20 times.
Right.
If you're teaching a tour guy, it's not because they're number one in the world. It's because they're struggling, or they're needing to get better. Like they can't stay out there on tour with what they have currently. So that's generally when you pick up new tour guys. So that's where you want to kind of use the 3D, use the pressure mat, see exactly what's going on, kind of figure out where to start, and then go over and then hit in to out or hit off the turf at the golf course. So that's generally how I do it. The 3D stuff, I used to think when I first got the gears, I thought it would only really be good for great players, but it's really not true. You can help anybody. My Granado, that's with the AMG golf guys, he teaches in my studio. I see him use it on normal guys all the time, and he significantly helps them with what their pelvis and spine and how their arms work around them. So probably my favorite thing currently is my gear system. Just because it gives you so much information, it gives you a look inside. It's like an MRI for a golf swing. Man, if I can take a PGA Tour player that's exempt out there and I can make them 5% better, I'm kicking ass.
Right.
It's not like, teaching my daughter that's 11 and I'm taking from nothing and going to, just getting better and better. It's like you're just trying to tweak them just a little bit. I'm not an overhauler. Those guys are really good because they're out there. All I'm trying to do is take what they do and refine it and make it better. A lot of times I tell people I don't add stuff. I just take stuff out.
When the guys come in, obviously you're on tour a lot, but this time of the year, you getting a couple of guys here and there or?
Yeah. I've had them here. I've Matt Every in the last week at my house, and it's because I live rural. They all stay with me at my house. So this week I've had Matt Every in the last 7 or 10 days. Matt Every was here for a couple days. Hudson Swafford was here for a couple days. Tom Huggy just left today. He was here for 2 days, and then I had another little girl that plays at SMU that was just my house for 3 or 4 days. So yeah, that's what they do. They come in, and that's where you can do more. I tell people this all the time. Like, if you're standing at a PGA Tour event and you're behind the ropes, I'm up there talking to them. I'm not telling them any great deal. At tour events, you're really calibrating somebody. You know what their flaws are, and you know what you're trying to tighten up. It's half the time they're, I see people standing back there thinking I'm telling some great knowledge. I'm probably telling them they're lined up too far left or something. And it's the honest to God truth. I think there are some instructors that maybe get a little deeper than I do, but I'm just trying to, I know what all their flaws are. So I always try to work, like my kid Hank, the club would get behind him, or, Matt, we try to clean up the top and keep the club out in front of him. Hudson runs in front of it, so we'll work on that. But, it's when they come to Cartersville when you kind of dive in there and try to make bigger strides and better improvements,
So I was seeing on your Instagram, you're a bourbon guy. Tell me about this All Nations bourbon. When's that going to come out?
Well, I figured out, this is what when I was a kid being a club pro, I figured out with my kind of half-assed personality, there's a pretty good chance I get fired. Because, I'm kind of somebody tells you what I think, which is normally not the best setup to be a club professional. But my little club loves it. Most of them do, not all, but they just think I'm funny, so I can pull it off there. So I always kind of was an entrepreneur. My wife and I owned some retail stores, and we owned a bunch of other businesses. But about 3 or 4 years ago, I got a group of guys together, and I worked on this, I probably worked on this 3 to 4 years, but we just got a group of investors together in Atlanta. Hudson's one of them. He's involved in it. That's awesome. And we just started a distillery. We bought a bunch of land in Kentucky, and we're building rick houses, and we're going to distill. We haven't distilled anything yet. Everything we're selling right now, we're just like everybody else. We purchased it and then bottling it.
Right.
And we've got a vodka out called Flippin' Bird, and we've got some canned drinks. Luckily, one of our main partners, a guy by the name of Matt Shire that owns Scofflaw down in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And he's probably I'd guess he's the fastest growing microbrewery in the U.S. The guy's a brilliant guy. And he's one of our partners. So that gives us an Atlanta location to sell product in and out of, and marketing. He already has a pretty large marketing reach. So we just got going. We're just this month on the shelf, we got a 6-year bourbon, a blend, and a rye that we've got coming out. So it's fun. I like to learn different things. It's super interesting industry.
Mm-hmm.
It's super hot right now. There's so many tour guys that, I mean, it's amazing how many tour guys collect bourbons like Stallings, and I think Ryan Blum does. I mean, there's tons of guys ask me all the time when they see my posts. They're never asking about golf anymore. They're asking about this.
What's your go-to? I mean, what's your favorite?
Well, right now, this 6-year that we've got out, I'm in love with. It's awesome. It's like a 114 proof. It's a little bit hot, but for years I just drank Makers. And that was my favorite. But now, you kind of spend some more time, and not that I have a refined palate, but you learn a little bit more about it. And yeah, it's just fun. We have a whole bunch of whiskey that we've got in barrels. So I've got to taste a bunch of different stuff. And in this process of going around and buying stuff from different people and getting to do all the sampling, it's been pretty fun, man. I've really enjoyed it.
I bet. Do you drink it neat or on the rocks?
I drink it on the rocks.
Yeah, I hear you, man. See,
Yeah,
I told you, Stats, no one drinks it neat.
I grew up a beer drinker, so I drink that stuff like beer. So you got to dilute it a little bit, man.
Right. Needs to be a little cool, right?
Yeah.
I like it both ways.
I'm not polished enough to drink it neat. That's for sure.
Me either. But I like it. I like it neat every now and then.
Yeah. So where are you guys out?
We're in DC area. Yeah, right outside of DC, in Fairfax, Virginia, and
Fairfax and Springfield.
Yeah, just a little bit out, about 20 minutes outside of Washington, DC.
Nice. There's great golf up there.
Oh yeah.
You been up here quite a bit, or?
Yeah, we had tour events up there. I've been doing this so long. I've been up in that area a bunch. One time I got to go to the White House with Carl Powell and Jason Bone and DeChambeau, and we went bowling in the bottom of the White House.
That's wild.
Now we got some good courses, and I guess when we're gonna get the Quail Hollow events moving up here in a couple of years, the Wells Fargo. So we'll hopefully get a tour. But I'd like to see a tour event come back up here permanently. But it's kind of sad when we lost a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I mean it's the perfect place to have one. And I'm telling you, every golf course I've been on up there is challenging. There are hard golf courses in that area. The ones I've been on,
So the ultimate debate, Scott, who do you got, Tiger or Jack, greatest of all time?
Tiger.
Yeah.
No doubt.
No doubt. Yeah, my dad would like to argue with me about it, but yeah, I'm the same. He's done so much for the games.
Tiger a number of times. He likes some of the other guys that I've taught, and he's always been such a good dude. I don't teach Harold right now. When I taught Harold, he would play with H, and he was so good to him, and treated him like an elder and helping him with his game. He's class. I love Tiger, so I'm a big Tiger fan.
Yeah, us too, man. For sure. Well, we don't want to take up too much of your time, Scott, man, but we appreciate you coming on, brother. We just wanted to talk a little golf with you, and maybe one of these days, if you're up here teaching with some pros or whatever on the road, we'll have to say, hey.
Sounds good. If you come down I-75 to Atlanta, we're right off the highway. Pull in there and play some golf, man. That's badass.
Absolutely. Well, our other boy who couldn't be on tonight, Trackman, he's got his wife's uncle lives in Kennesaw, so we've actually been through there on the way to the Masters. So next time we go down, we'll hit you up.
Yeah, just yell at me and stop and play. It's a beautiful old golf course built in '54. Gary Player redid it in '72. It's a really cool golf course. So come try it out, man.
Absolutely.
Sounds good, brother.
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks,
Take
guys.
it easy. All right. Have a good one.